big.
In April 2021, two Canadian YouTubers, Jordan and Johnny, posted a spine-tingling video called Paranormal Activity at Sinister Farm on their channel, Paranormalities. The channel has built its reputation on venturing into haunted locations across the globe. In this particular upload, the pair set out to investigate an abandoned farmhouse tucked away in a remote corner of Steinbach, Canada. Apparently, a local couple had reached out to them about this unsettling property. Constructed sometime after World War II, the farm has accumulated a long history of reported paranormal incidents, and the backstory behind the place is especially dark. Residents in the area claim the original owner would disappear every evening and return come morning, until one day he walked out and simply never came back. Over the following 8 decades, several different farmers took ownership of the land, yet not one of them stuck around for more than 2 years. The couple who first contacted Jordan and Johnny described a harrowing night spent in the upper bedroom. They heard clear, distinct voices, and when they turned toward the window, a figure was staring back at them from the second floor. That impossible sight was enough to send them packing immediately, prompting them to get in touch with the duo and urge them to look into it. Jordan and Johnny showed up at the property. In the dead of night, they started by scouting the exterior, trying to locate a way into the farmhouse. And that's when something unexpected happens on camera.
So it's got to be that window?
It'd be that window, barn. Shine the light back here. Yo, Johnny.
What?
Yeah, there's a barn back there. Oh, I can't really see it on my camera. So yeah, it would have been that window.
If you study the footage carefully at this moment, a hand briefly emerges from the second floor window before retreating back inside just as quickly. The investigators had no idea their camera caught it, yet this detail lines up directly with the exact window where the couple had described seeing a mysterious face staring down at them. Completely oblivious to what had just been recorded, the pair pressed on with their exploration. The front entrance turned out to be dead-bolted and broken, so they had no choice but to squeeze through a window to get inside. Once in, they got their equipment up and running.
Is anybody in here? It's a yep?
Is that you who made that noise? Can you use the necrophonic? Say yes.
Man, that freaked me out.
There was yes, I just heard it.
Yes?
There was a yes. Who are you?
Demon?
Following that brief session with the necrophonic device, they headed upstairs to dig deeper, though neither the hand nor any other obvious paranormal sign revealed itself to them. Eventually, they decided to make their way back downstairs.
What?
I heard something footsteps.
There it is.
That's definitely a knock.
Can you knock again if that was you? There it is. I'm gonna go check. Hang on. Oh man, it's so freaky.
After those mysterious knocking sounds rang out, the investigators swept through the house looking for any rational source, and came up empty. Determined to make contact with whatever might be sharing the space with them, they set up a sensory deprivation test, positioning Jordan inside a small bathroom, while Johnny directed questions at any entity that might be listening. That's when things get deeply unsettling. Not long after,
Why are you here?
We're here just to talk to you.
Johnny.
Did you hear that? What was that?
I heard something.
It was this light bulb, dude.
A light bulb.
Look. Oh my God.
That wasn't already there?
No. Was that you that did that? Go back in, go back in. I want to see if we can get something off this. Are you the one that knocked that light bulb down?
Ha ha ha.
Is this a joke to you?
Me. Window. Ha ha ha.
Jordan.
Huh.
I feel like there's something like pulling on my shirt. It keeps pulling on my shirt.
a loud crash draws their attention, and when they check it out, they find a light bulb has dropped on its own with no obvious cause. With no explanation presenting itself, they pivoted to another technique, table tipping. They positioned a table in the center of the room and started asking questions, hoping to open some kind of dialogue with whatever presence was there. What unfolds next stopped them cold.
Take this camera, and I'll grab this camera. And then Stop. Jordan.
Dude, what was that?
Before the experiment even gets properly underway, the table launches violently onto its side by itself. What makes it even more unnerving is that just seconds before the table moved, the sound of something running down the staircase could be heard clearly.
Stop.
The timing strongly implies that whatever descended those stairs was directly connected to the table being thrown. The two retreated upstairs, where unexplained sounds continued to fill the house, objects apparently being knocked over and something being dragged across the floor. Even so, they pushed on, this time deploying an SLS camera, a device that detects and maps humanoid shapes much like an Xbox Kinect does. What the camera picks up is genuinely unsettling.
Whoa, look. Something in the window.
There's something in the window?
Right where the table flipped. 2, there was another one. If that's you, can you make a noise? And it doesn't make sense why this would be pulling something from the window. If anything, it would go on the window frame, not in the middle of the window. And now it's gone by the window. So why is that? Can you let us know where you are by making a noise? Oh, right for a second, right by the window where she saw that thing?
Yeah, you saw it.
Yeah. It's sitting right where, kind of how we were sitting before, right against the wall. Look at this.
At one point, it registers a stick figure shape positioned right beside the second floor window, the very same window where the couple had seen a face and where that mysterious hand had appeared earlier in the night. After that strange encounter, they chose to move their investigation out to the barn, where more unexplained activity awaited them, though nothing could have prepared them for how aggressive it was about to get.
Can you tell us if necrophonic is real? And if it is, we want to know, did you flip that table?
Right before their eyes, a bottle was hurled across the barn, followed by a box launched with real force. They scrambled to find any explanation for how the objects moved so violently, and found none. That was the breaking point. Jordan and Johnny had experienced enough. They wrapped up the investigation and got off the property. What makes this whole thing so gripping is how the activity seemed to escalate the longer they refused to leave. It started with strange sounds and bangs, unsettling but not enough to chase them out. Then came the table flipping, which rattled them but still didn't push them over the edge. It wasn't until objects started being hurled across the barn that they finally called it. And layered underneath all of it is that hand in the window, quietly confirming exactly what the couple had described seeing from an impossible vantage point. Whether what Jordan and Johnny experienced that night was genuinely paranormal or a carefully constructed hoax is something no one can say for certain. The footage raises real questions, but as is always the case with this kind of investigation, hard proof stays just out of reach. So it leaves you wondering, if you found yourself face to face with something like this, would you bolt at the very first sign something was wrong? Or would you do what Jordan and Johnny did and hold your ground long enough to witness something you truly couldn't explain? Urban explorer Colin, who runs the YouTube channel The Bearded Explorer, was making his way through France when he stumbled upon the perfect derelict property to investigate. The 2-floor residence had been vacant for years, and it appeared the previous occupant had left nearly all of their belongings behind. Colin methodically documents each room, capturing photos and footage for his followers. It's only afterward, when he sits down to review everything he recorded, that he notices something deeply unsettling he had completely overlooked.
Right guys, well that is it for today's video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe. Please go and check out the Instagram, which is _. Also go and check out the Facebook page. Like always, I'll put all the pictures on Facebook.
You can spot a figure peering out from behind a curtain in one of the upstairs windows. Throughout the rest of the footage, there's absolutely no indication that anyone else was present. No additional footsteps, no unexpected movement, nothing but the sounds of Colin himself moving through the space. And that's not where the strangeness ends. After he uploaded the video, one sharp-eyed viewer caught something else entirely, something that's going to stick with you long after you've seen it.
We'll start with this one first because this one looks like it's got a lot of stuff inside, and it has. I've got some more photographs here, look. The ceiling is completely covered in mould. Bit of condensation up in the corner again. And look at this, the cupboard completely filled with clothes still. Wow. Absolutely amazing. Look at that, it looks as if something's been climbing in. Oh God, frightening in the bag, just hit my leg. I thought someone tapped my leg. It looks as if...
Did you catch that? The wardrobe mirror momentarily shows the reflection of a pair of feet positioned beneath the window curtain, as though somebody is concealed behind it. Yet when Colin swings the camera directly toward those curtains, there's nothing there. And going back to the moment he first stepped into that room, the mirror showed no feet whatsoever. So did this explorer unknowingly document not one, but two separate unexplained encounters? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Airborne Pirates is a channel built around chasing extreme weather in remote locations, and this particular outing was no exception. A solo overnight on Snaefell, the Isle of Man's tallest summit, with a serious storm bearing down fast. The mission, as usual, was no small thing, putting a Hilleberg solo tent through its paces in 50 to 60 millibar winds, heavy rain, and the real possibility of thunder and lightning. When the trip was first scheduled, conditions had looked ideal, but as any mountain will eventually teach you, your plans rarely survive the reality of what's waiting up there. The weather was deteriorating quickly, and not in any good direction. Even on the way up, the visibility was already closing in.
See, conditions, I don't think they're going to improve, but they are definitely going to get worse. Problem with this weather is, you never really know whether you're at the summit or not. 2,036 feet high is Snaefell, so we'll press on. A bit windy. Last time I came up here, it was in the snow. A bit more of that this winter too. This is definitely way more windy than was forecast. I've got a wind anemometer, I'll check it out shortly, but the winds aren't supposed to get heavy until like another 3 or 4 hours. But this is insane. Be a good test for the Hilleberg. Tried to pitch behind me, but unfortunately the ground is like rock that deep, so I can't get a solid pitch. So I'm going to go lower and try and find somewhere I can pitch. This is absolutely horrific. Just check the wind.
Cloud wrapped itself around the slopes while the wind carried that sharp, biting quality that signals it's only just warming up. Snaefell isn't a technically demanding climb, but on a night like this, it transforms into something else entirely. Less a summit, more a test of what you're made of. His last visit had been under a layer of snow. This time around, something worse seemed to be lurking higher up. Topping out wasn't going to be an option. Winds at the peak had already clocked 65 miles per hour, and the ground was frozen too solid to anchor a tent reliably. Without a proper pitch, even premium shelter becomes a danger rather than a solution. He retreated to lower ground, found a viable spot, and got the tent up just as the gusts began screaming through. Once inside, he finally got a chance to catch his breath. A compact pump lantern made inflating the sleeping mat effortless. His sleep setup was well sorted, and dinner was prepared carefully inside the vestibule with enough airflow to keep things safe. Then there were the transmission towers on Snaefell, barely distinguishable through the murk, and they pulled his thoughts toward a strange piece of local history, a 2004 report of an unidentified object colliding with one of them. Witnessed trailing smoke as it dropped into the valley below. Emergency crews were dispatched, but nothing was ever recovered. Some people put it down to experimental military hardware, others reached for less grounded explanations. It's the kind of story that lingers, particularly when you happen to be the sole person on a dark, storm-battered mountain. Outside, the wind showed no mercy. Gusts were already hitting 60 millibars by 9 in the evening, several hours before forecasters had predicted. The tent stood its ground, but being tossed around inside a nylon shell by forces that powerful sent a real jolt of adrenaline through him. He did his best not to dwell on the fact that there wasn't another soul anywhere on that mountain. At some point, the wind changed direction, striking the tent from the side rather than head-on, and stressing the structure in an entirely new way. For the first time all night, he felt genuine concern. He managed to grab a few hours of broken sleep, just barely enough. By daybreak, the winds were still up, but the peak of the storm had moved through.
Good morning, everybody. That was absolutely relentless. Relentless. I have to check the tent out, but from what I can see, looks okay. Wow, that was insane. All night it was ripping. I'm going to make an attempt to try and make the tent up. I've tried to film it, but as you can see, it's not conducive to a tripod, but we'll give it a go. Cheers, guys.
The tent had absorbed a serious punishment and come out intact. Some condensation, a small amount of moisture through the vent seams, but nothing that spelled disaster. Back at the van, he was exhausted, damp, and a little roughed up by the elements, but grinning. This wasn't the sort of wild camp you'd point a newcomer toward. It was the kind you work your way up to, armed with quality gear and hard-won knowledge. But for airborne pirates, that's precisely the point. Not golden hour views or tranquil woodland, but the raw stuff, the unpredictable, the punishing, the kind of experience you never quite shake. With that, it was time to head back. The mountain, though, was still there behind him, swallowed in cloud, quietly waiting for whoever's bold enough, or reckless enough, to give it another go. On November 1st, 2022, an Australian urban explorer behind the YouTube channel Sweaty Urbex Aus made his way to Cairns, Australia, expecting nothing more than a standard outing. What unfolded instead was something he clearly hadn't bargained for, and it started before the exploration had even gotten off the ground. Alongside a friend, the creator made his way toward a building they were convinced had long been vacant. Operating on that assumption, the pair began moving through the property the way they always would on one of these trips.
Yeah. Oh my god. So, this looks wonderful. Jesus. You ready?
Things shifted fast, though, when a man suddenly stepped out and confronted them directly. He told them he was actually living inside the building and made it abundantly clear they had no business being there. The exchange heated up quickly, and he demanded they get off the property at once.
By someone who I definitely bet does not live here. We didn't even see him. He was just yelling at us. So, you know, might as well. But that does look like legit like the coolest place we could have gone into here.
The explorers did leave at that point, but rather than putting the whole thing behind them, they made the decision to head back.
To the house, because I realized that it like really hurt my ego that like he just yelled at us, get out, and we were like, okay, yeah, sure. Like that guy doesn't live there. That guy doesn't live there. And like I just think it's really unfair that he's gatekeeping the property.
Still rattled by what had happened and feeling like they'd been harassed, they started recording the man from a safe distance and put a call into the police.
We're gonna try and get onto the property. We'll not. We're gonna stand at the thing and we're gonna film him. And then I'm gonna tell him that I'm calling the cops on him because harassment. Yeah, harassment. And I'm a child. I'll give you 5 minutes to leave or I'm calling the police. I'll watch. And I'll...
That choice only added more tension to an already charged situation. When officers finally showed up, they took stock of what was going on and told the explorers to walk away and drop it. After everything settled down, the pair returned to their cruise ship and departed Cairns. later describing the whole ordeal as genuinely distressing. Safe to say this one didn't go as planned. A man living in Peru, specifically in the city of Chilca, says he managed to capture something deeply unsettling near the town's pier. It began during a late-night walk through the surrounding area. Everything was quiet until a strange noise rising from the lake suddenly drew his attention. Equal parts curious and on edge, he moves in for a closer look. What he encountered next was something he never could have anticipated.
Ayer me fui a Chilca y esto pasó. Quisiera saber qué cosa fue o qué cosa es. Ayúdenme por favor ustedes a descubrir esto. Pero en una de las lagunas de Chilca me pasó esto. Nada, ayúdenme por favor.
Rising up from the pitch-black water, an unusual figure slowly starts to surface. The shape is vaguely human, yet deeply wrong. You can clearly distinguish what look like 3 distinct claws, making the creature appear all the more horrifying. Its movements are unhurried, but more than enough to send him into an instant panic. The man bolts without a second thought, and whatever unfolded after that remains unknown. But the most chilling detail isn't even in the footage itself. It's what you find when you start digging into the history of the region. Chilca has long been associated with strange and unexplained activity. Residents insist this kind of encounter is far from unprecedented. Stories passed down through generations describe beings lurking in the water, mysterious apparitions, and UFO sightings in the skies directly above the city. Is this all just a series of coincidences, or is something far more consistent going on? As of right now, the footage raises far more questions than it answers. Friends were making their way down a secluded road, cutting through the forest when they stumbled upon an abandoned, crumbling house. Their curiosity got the better of them, and they approached the entrance, and right there, in the middle of the room, was a life-size scarecrow. The thing had on a spotless black rain jacket, and its face was hidden behind a smooth, yellow plastic mask. It had the look of something recently set up, as if whoever left it there hadn't been gone long. Not a single one of them crossed that threshold. So was this somebody's idea of a joke, or was there something far more sinister behind it? On January 14th, 2021, this guy headed out to explore a decommissioned military base, only to discover it was still under watch. And before long, someone opened fire on him. He'd gotten hold of classified coordinates for the location, circulating only on restricted forums. Until just a few years back, it didn't appear on any map. Those coordinates took him deep into the woods, along an overgrown rail line that ran for several miles. Eventually, he arrived at the site. The place looked like it hadn't been touched in decades. Abandoned warehouses, corroded gates, old hangars. Some sources suggested the base had only been closed 3 or 4 years prior, but the level of decay made it feel far more ancient. He'd already worked his way through several buildings and was nearly ready to leave when something caught his eye. Well aware of the risks of being there, he kept his movements silent and only reached for his flashlight when he had absolutely no other choice. While making his way through one of the derelict structures, a sound stopped him cold. Someone was approaching.
Может, это не охранники, может, это тоже кто-то лазит. Короче, ладно, я тихонечко. Так, фонарик не буду доставать уже. Уже все.
The moment he tried to slip away, shots echoed through the darkness in the distance. He ducked inside one of the buildings to collect himself, and that's when he realized a man with a weapon was standing directly behind him. rush of fear and adrenaline completely threw off his sense of direction. He couldn't locate the exit. Every now and then he'd briefly switch on his light just to get his bearings, each time gambling on being spotted. He ultimately took cover inside one of the hangars and decided to sit tight until daylight. Sometime around 4 in the morning, he carefully peered outside and saw no flashlight beams in the area. Perhaps whoever had been hunting him had finally gone. Just what exactly is concealed inside that abandoned military base remains an open question. Cinemas is a content creator known for scaling extreme structures like radio towers and derelict high-rise buildings. His channel is absolutely not for the faint of heart, but in this particular clip, he wasn't going anywhere near a rooftop. Instead, he and a buddy decided to poke around an abandoned factory and document the whole thing. Sadly, the outing took a sharp turn when they stumbled onto something they weren't expecting. They spotted a local worker who had started chasing them, and the mood shifted into full panic mode almost immediately. What made everything worse was that his friend simply couldn't keep up the pace, forcing him to keep glancing back just to make sure the guy hadn't fallen behind.
Holy shit, Sam.
This was the point where they were convinced they'd finally shaken him off and that there was no possible way he was still in pursuit. But sure enough, one look over the shoulder confirmed that the worker was still right on their tail, and they came frighteningly close to getting caught right there.
Горячо. Шурас. Горячо, лип. Мяснякольно вандализуем.
The worker eventually closed the gap to a dangerous distance, though somehow they managed to slip away. They even tried approaching him afterward to explain they hadn't taken a single thing. But one thing is crystal clear. He'd almost certainly think twice before bringing that friend along on another adventure. Seriously, the guy was practically moving in reverse, and they nearly got caught on 2 separate occasions because of it. What's the point of sneaking into somewhere like that if your legs give out the moment things get real? By the end of it, the worker probably had nothing left in the tank anyway after all that effort. Honestly, whatever that man earns for his trouble, it is nowhere near enough. School that feels occupied without any students. A street that feels hollow without a single resident. And now, something that manages to be both at the same time. Welcome to Holden Avenue in Cleveland, Ohio. Once a flourishing neighborhood filled with beautiful homes, a close-knit community, and a church that had stood since 1913, it's now a ghost of a street where silence settles over boarded-up houses and shattered windows. The first Hungarian Baptist church, which had served local families for generations, eventually shut its doors along with everything else on the block. But Holden Avenue carries a weight heavier than simple neglect. In April of 2016, the body of 26-year-old Jessica Coleman was found inside one of those houses. She had vanished just days before, her vehicle still sitting in the garage, doors locked, no evidence of a break-in. She had been shot. To this day, no one has ever been charged with her murder. It was with all of this in mind that urban explorer Chris Hill, widely known online as Urbex Hill, made his way to Holton Avenue in July of 2023 to document the abandoned church and surrounding homes. The outing started out feeling routine, but the deeper he pushed, the more unsettling things became. Inside the church, the atmosphere was suffocating. Rot had claimed nearly everything, but the decay wasn't the only thing demanding Chris's attention. At one point, while he was down in the basement, a thunderous banging erupted from somewhere above him.
That's weird. What's upstairs?
Shortly after, Chris returned to find a door had been shut during the time he was away.
That door wasn't closed. At least I don't think.
It was becoming clear that age alone wasn't responsible for what was happening in that building. Something else was at work. Later, moving through one of the nearby abandoned homes, Chris came across a haunting relic of the streets past. Buried in the rubble was a framed photograph of that very house taken in its prime. Right beside it, jarringly out of context, was a brand new NFL trading card of Carnell Lake. The contrast was deeply unsettling, decades of history sitting side by side with something that had no business being there. Then came the find that changed the atmosphere entirely. Scattered across the floor of another house, Chris spotted a collection of VHS tapes, explicitly labeled ones.
Huh. Outdoor hardcore. What are these doing up here?
Who had left them there, or why, was anyone's guess. The mood of the exploration had shifted considerably, and things were only going to get worse from there. Inside yet another crumbling house, Chris swung his camera toward a curtain hanging in the window. Nothing was behind it. Not yet, anyway. He then headed quickly down into the basement, half muttering under his breath, "I hope I don't find a body down here."
Oh, but I'll find them. Sorry. I didn't know nobody lived there.
Loud noises appeared from behind the same curtain he had filmed earlier, but this time, somebody took a peek. Somebody was standing there. Sorry, Chris apologized and immediately fled the house. The truth hit him in an instant. The building wasn't abandoned at all. Someone was living there, hidden inside the ruins of Holton Avenue.
There's somebody living in there.
But as unsettling as all of that was, nothing could quite prepare you for what Chris's hidden cameras had been recording back inside the church. In one piece of footage, a dark figure can clearly be seen pulling a door shut. From a second angle, that same shadowy shape moved past a window before closing it moments later. When Chris went to check the exact room where the figure had appeared, there was no way out, no exit it could have used. And then, just 5 minutes after that, something else registered on camera, a motion on one of the church pews, captured simultaneously from two separate angles. Whatever was inside that church has never been explained. Was it a squatter keeping out of sight, or something that defies a rational explanation entirely? One thing isn't up for debate. Whatever Chris experienced that night, it wasn't a quiet evening. From a street where something unseen lurks among the silence, our next location takes us to a farmhouse where it seems someone simply never left. Next gripping encounter comes from Dark Exploration Films, one of the top urban exploration channels in the United States, dedicated to documenting overlooked, historic, and long-abandoned structures throughout the country. The date is November 2nd, 2022, in Elmira, New York, inside a derelict shopping mall from the 1980s that has since been swallowed by vegetation, makeshift camps, and a growing sense of lawlessness.
Dollar Food grocery store. And all these other businesses were tool stores, hardware stores. There was a pharmacy here. an auto detailing, and down there is an additional shopping center. I think they sold all sorts of things, not just food, but discount clothes, appliances, pretty much a department store. And there's so much history about this place online. The community behind me really loved this location, but it has fallen into the hands of local criminals, homelessness, and I'm here alone, so I'm going to be documenting what I can. It's so apocalyptic here. All the overgrown grass, which actually matches the building since I'm here in the autumn. We're gonna go inside this old supermarket.
The explorer picks his way slowly across a fractured parking lot where thick shoots of grass have forced their way up through the asphalt. Faded retro signs still cling above corroded storefronts, sun-stripped and untouched for what looks like decades. Over by the loading docks, he spots improvised shelters and scattered personal items, clear signs that people have been calling this place home. The dying light, the heavy quiet, and the sheer scale of the building make every footstep feel deliberate. There's some people coming out of the business here. So I'm here early in the morning to record. Oh, I found this place last night. The lighting was bad. The sun was right behind the shopping center, so I couldn't get good lighting. And I just came here early, 9 o'clock in the morning. And there's multiple people inside that supermarket. I don't know if you were able to see them on camera, but as soon as I walked in the front door, they came walking out of the back rooms. There was a cat there also. And yesterday I saw a bunch of homeless encampments back by the loading docks where it's kind of covered. They've made makeshift buildings with pallets and such, and I'm here alone, so this is getting kind of dangerous. I'm thinking the homeless people are just waking up about now, but it's pretty dangerous here, kind of sketchy. I'm outnumbered. Once inside the old supermarket, something stirs in the stillness. A handful of people appear from the back of the store. A cat lounges nearby amid overturned carts and scattered debris. The explorer hangs back, camera rolling, quietly aware that this place is far more occupied than it appeared from outside. There are at least 3 others gathered near the loading docks.
Really in the post-apocalyptic world right now, because there's just like a raider settlement behind the shopping center.
Pushing deeper in, 3 figures are spotted around the loading bays, where fire pits, draped blankets, and broken down furniture have been arranged into a rough living space. The whole scene carries a post-apocalyptic weight, a place the world forgot, yet people still inhabit.
When my survival instincts started to kick off, immediately I didn't see anybody, but I started to hear voices, as you could hear right now. And I didn't know where those voices were coming from. It sounded like they were coming from directly above me, so I paced back and forth, went towards the front door at one point until I eventually turned around and realized that the people who I originally saw in the beginning of the video were above my head smoking the entire time. And this is the raw footage of me finding that out, just to give you guys a little bit of a backstory as to what you're looking at. Exploring can bring all sorts of different survival instincts out of you, and I knew immediately when I walked in that room that something was off. I hear you guys. You're chill though. I'm just exploring, alright?
You're just smoking.
I smell you before I heard you, don't worry. You're good. Dude, that's actually a pretty chill spot up there.
I know, right? We're hotboxing. We're trying to hotbox.
Then, from somewhere above, voices drift down through the open ceiling. The same group is up on the higher level, smoking and talking. The explorer presses on without any confrontation, threading carefully through aisles that feel less like ruins and more like occupied territory. How's it going? I'm just taking pictures. I saw some people in the building. They're on the rooftop of this one behind us, and there's some people in the loading dock back there. You probably already know about some of that activity, though.
Yeah, they've been in here, but the place just got bought out, so they're gonna get out of there soon.
That's good.
Yeah, so.
I saw stuff online saying that the previous property owner didn't let police on the property or something. I saw that on a Facebook group.
Yeah, I saw that too. I don't know what the whole story is with that, but
Okay.
he doesn't have the property anymore. So.
Okay, well that's good to see that these people in these neighborhoods won't have to deal with this crap.
Yeah. Some other company bought it out. They're gonna tear the building down at some point. Thought it was gonna be done already, but
Yeah.
apparently working on it.
Okay.
But yeah, so they're here for now.
You're just doing rounds?
Yeah, I'm just checking to make sure.
Okay.
What's going on besides that?
Okay, yeah, it seems okay. I don't smell any fire or anything, just kids smoking.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Alright.
Alright, well, good seeing you. Yeah, thanks. That was the chillest police encounter I've ever had my entire life. I don't even understand how that just went so well. And I'm behind this abandoned building. That's so weird. But anyway, he said that the building just got bought out. And he's just checking to see if there's no foul play going around here. And just like that, he's leaving. Close to the encampment, a police officer shows up without warning. The exchange stays calm. The officer explains that the entire property has recently been sold and demolition is on the way. It marks the final chapter for a location that so many had quietly relied on just to get by. The explorer makes his way out carrying equal parts relief and fascination. The vintage displays, the creeping decay, the unmistakable human presence. All of it captured one last time before the wrecking crews arrive. This is urban exploration at its most raw. Less about hauntings, more about the weight of stories a place carries right up to its very last moment. There is something magnetic about stepping into the unknown, and maybe it is exactly that uncertainty that keeps pulling people back, again and again. That footage originates from the YouTube channel Plan Zero, run by a creator named Kyle. His usual content is centered around trampolining and lifestyle-style videos, and he's also the man behind the clothing brand that goes by the same name. Then came September 25th, 2017, and the channel veered somewhere far more unsettling. In this particular upload, Kyle joins forces with his friend Alex to go poking around a place wrapped in local legend. The derelict Royalty Cinema in Harborne, a building that plenty of locals will tell you, in hushed tones, isn't entirely empty. The rumors weren't enough to keep them away. After a bit of a struggle getting in, the two managed to squeeze through and cross into the shell of a theater that time had swallowed whole.
Sketchy. Of all the abandoned places I've been, this is... of all the places, this is the hardest one it's ever been to get into. I really don't think many people get a chance to go in here. Yo, look at that, that's trippy. Yo, I wonder if they watch Plan Zero. Yo! Whoa. You hear that? This place, there's just noises.
To begin with, they were almost in awe of the wreckage around them. The caved-in ceiling, the long abandoned stage, the thick blanket of dust that looked like it hadn't been disturbed in decades. But something else was present beneath all that eerie beauty, a tension, a sense of being watched. The further they pushed in, the more impossible it became to shake.
You know, this place is actually really starting to creep me out. There's a pigeon. It's getting darker and darker here because the sun's going down and there's less natural light. It's getting a little bit sketchy because we still have to get out of here through that window. Check this out. This is the balcony and it's just a sheer drop. This place, dude. This place is weird. What the fuck? No, look, here. Dude, this thing. Have you been up here yet? Have we been up here? Dude, I swear to God, this came around the corner.
You can't be freaking me out like this.
Well, look, I swear, did you not?
Already rattled, the situation escalated fast when something suddenly dropped off the wall at the exact moment Kyle passed beneath it. Maybe a coincidence, sure, but the timing was far too deliberate to brush off so easily.
I heard a noise, but...
Where does this be? Dude, this is... I'm not joking, I swear, I'm not joking.
You're f***ing with me, because now,
I'm not,
now
dude,
I got chills.
I swear, I'm not joking. I'm not joking. Look, I'll watch the footage. Dude, I mean, you've seen it, right? You've seen it.
I feel like you've set this up somehow, but really not.
That was all it took. The dread had burrowed in too deep, and neither of them had any interest in sticking around for answers. Pulses hammering, they grabbed whatever they could find to climb on, and clawed their way back out through the same gap they'd entered. The crumbling shell of the Royalty Cinema fell away behind them, but the unease didn't go with it. They got out with their adrenaline still spiking and just enough distance between them and that place to breathe again, but nowhere near enough to stop thinking about it. So what exactly had been moving around in that auditorium? A homeless person? A trick of the dark? Or something that...
And with 3 massive sets of chains and locks.
No one could have imagined that 2 unremarkable peasants would be responsible for emptying an entire village of its people. Yet that's precisely what unfolded in Drakelo, a modest English settlement situated near Burton-on-Trent. The 2 men died suddenly while seated at dinner and were laid to rest behind St. Peter's Church. But when darkness fell, residents swore they spotted the deceased wandering the streets.
Stone, which was...
Gripped by fear, the townspeople dug up the graves and discovered the corpses in an oddly preserved state with strange markings left on the burial cloths. Convinced something sinister was at work, they assembled on a hilltop and set the remains alight with great care. As the smoke curled upward into the sky, a pair of black crows was spotted taking flight. Many interpreted this as a sign that certain dark forces are never truly extinguished. They simply shift into another form and wait, quietly.
All the areas in between are similarly filled with burial.
In May 2022, a content creator going by the name Ricky posted a spine-chilling video called Terrifying Experience in Tri-City Hospital to his YouTube channel, Paranormal Adventures. The channel focuses on venturing into haunted and abandoned places, capturing unsettling moments, and digging into claims of paranormal activity. In this particular upload, Ricky and a security guard set out to explore the notorious Tri-City Hospital, a long-deserted medical facility somewhere in the southern United States. The building dates back to the 1950s and operated for several decades before finally closing its doors in the early 2000s, brought down by financial collapse and serious allegations of malpractice. Ever since, the structure has been left to rot, drawing in urban explorers and ghost hunters from all over. Despite knowing full well what the place was rumored to be, Ricky and the security guard pushed ahead anyway, heading in late at night with a full kit of paranormal investigation gear. The video opens with the 2 of them slipping into the hospital through the basement entrance. It's dead silent down there, nothing but the hollow echo of their footsteps bouncing off the walls of dark, cramped corridors.
There might be deep puddles. Just be careful.
So there's like a certain current around you right now that's generating power.
Oh, wow.
And that's kind of impossible when there's nothing in front of you.
Yeah, there's also a little globe that appears on a lot of the cameras on the ground floor and around the outside of the hospital. It's this little ball of light, and it's only visible on the cameras.
Oh, really?
It's a little bright white light that just follows. It jumps from camera to camera, and the cameras are like 100 yards apart. Easy.
Gotcha. I don't know if I ever captured your story, but could you repeat that story again?
Just the footprints of a little girl barefoot, and they just lead out of puddles and pools of water, just leading away from, I don't even know. Yeah. They would just stop unexplainably. There would be nothing on the cameras, nothing like that. No one breaking in or out.
And what do you think that might be? Well, you don't believe in ghosts at all.
I don't believe in ghosts, no. Not even working here.
As they work their way through the darkness, the security guard starts opening up about his own experiences in the building. He talks about hearing footsteps in hallways where nobody was standing, doors slamming without any apparent cause, and catching glimpses of shadowy figures during late-night shifts. Ricky listens closely, his nerves steadily fraying with each detail, though for now the basement offers nothing but silence. The further in they go, however, the more something feels off.
Yeah, I feel like whatever is in here is following us. Because that's
The old security guard actually quit because of that. He said that that little girl would follow him around and she would throw a ball. She would like roll random objects to play catch with him apparently.
Oh wow.
To play with him. A lot of creepy stuff down here too. I don't like walking through this park 'cause it's like a maze.
Oh shit. What the hell? What the?
There's a prop skeleton too.
Oh my god, this is unreal. This is probably like a prank.
There was that blood, it's not, there's a couple pools in there that aren't fake blood. Those ones under that bag, that's not fake blood, it was coagulating. I actually notified the local police department and they came and checked it out.
Yeah.
Because it was still wet and then now it's dry. Fake blood doesn't do that. It doesn't coagulate, it doesn't turn brown. It stays bright red like on that skeleton. So that all in there. Yeah, see, that's clearly fake blood, but the rest of that, I don't think so. See, that tripping follows you.
Deep inside one of the hallways, Ricky's equipment begins picking up readings it shouldn't be getting. He can't shake a creeping sensation that something is moving behind them. Things get worse when he steps into another room and spots what looks like bloodstains smeared across the floor and walls. Close by sits a skeleton prop, which Ricky initially figures might be a leftover gag from a previous visitor. But those stains weren't sitting right with him, and neither was the growing sense that whatever was in that building with them wasn't done yet.
Ever seen anything around here or act weird?
They'll bark and I'll always go check it out and there's nothing there. They don't like coming in, they don't like letting me come in here at night either.
Oh, it's like they know and they want to protect you. I'm getting a good solid.
See, that,
yeah.
That noise.
Sounds like wheelchairs and stuff, like squeaks. Just want to get that thunder.
Hear that?
That's walking. But earlier that was walking for sure. Have you ever heard that before?
Yeah. But then I go to check it out and there's nothing there. So I think I'm crazy. They were shooting at something at that wall.
I've never seen this many bullets in an abandoned place before.
There's another one over here.
Can you see us here? It just turned on in my book bag, dude. Why are you coming up? What the fuck? They said, why are you coming up? I don't know if you got that.
Pushing through his unease, Ricky sets his equipment up in an attempt to make contact with anything that might be lurking there. For a while, nothing happens. The room stays completely still. Then, right as he's ready to pack it in, every single device fires up simultaneously, almost like a collective signal telling them to get out. Ricky ignores it and keeps going. Moving back through the pitch black hallways, that's when everything shifted in the worst possible way.
Once it hits midnight and 1 o'clock, that's when the shit gets wild. I don't come in here. I have my dog in my gun.
What the fuck was that?
That's why I have my gun, man. I have my dog in my gun.
Hell no, dude. What the hell? That sounded like a baby or like a little. Oh, what the fuck? It sounded like in there.
shit. God.
No, sir. No, sir.
Oh, shit.
I want to grab my gun.
It's literally 11, like 12 o'clock, like you said. It gets wild.
Told you. That's why I have my gun in here. 12 o'clock.
Hello?
It throws shit. It slams doors. And once you open the door, it's fucking chaos from there. Yeah, I'm gonna just go through. See? Like.
And we're the only ones in here. Dude, there's no one in here.
You gonna open it?
Yeah, I'll open it. What the I saw this door move. Oh, shit! There's no one in there, dude. No way. There's no one in there. There's no one in there. Nobody in there.
I told you.
I had a...
my gun.
The deeper they venture, the more intense it gets. Out of nowhere, the sound of a baby crying drifts through the empty corridors. Clear, unmistakable, and completely unexplainable. They tear through the surrounding area, searching for any rational answer, but come up empty. No living presence, no sign of a child anywhere. Then, just when the tension couldn't climb any higher, Ricky enters a long stretch of hallway and is hit with knocking sounds coming from several directions at once, followed by a door slamming violently somewhere nearby. They scramble to check every room. Nothing. Nobody. The combination of the unexplained sounds and the suffocating weight of the atmosphere finally breaks them. Shaking, Ricky makes the call to get out. The moment they step back into the open air, the crushing dread of the hospital begins to fall away. But neither of them walks away unaffected. Ricky takes a moment to process what just happened, caught somewhere between pure terror and a strange rush of adrenaline. He went into Tri-City Abandoned Hospital looking for answers. Whatever he walked out with, it wasn't nothing. On January 1st, 2023, a YouTube channel called Van Life Adventures with Jack, run by its creator Jack, posted this footage for the world to see. What begins as a tranquil solo camping trip deep in the wilderness quickly spirals into something deeply unsettling, leaving Jack genuinely questioning whether he was safe out there. He kicks things off by winding his way through the narrow, rain-drenched roads of the Scottish Highlands, reflecting along the way on just how demanding winter camping can be. He loves travel and adventure, sure, but even he admits that going it alone in those kinds of conditions is no walk in the park. His destination is Castle Campbell, a historic landmark sitting atop a hill. When he finally gets there, the skies are still heavy and gray, though he manages to take in the breathtaking scenery and squeeze in a few drone shots before heading off to find somewhere to bed down for the night. As darkness sets in, Jack pulls his car into a secluded spot. The isolation hits immediately, no streetlights, no passersby, no trace of civilization anywhere in sight. For a while, things feel perfectly fine. He gets his sleeping area sorted, puts on some music, and leans into the quiet solitude of the Highlands. But as he tries to drift off, a gnawing sense of unease starts to take hold. The first red flag comes when Jack spots another car parked close by.
Somebody has parked the car.
Given just how remote this location is, seeing another vehicle out there at that hour feels deeply out of place. It doesn't move, nobody steps out. And the longer it just sits there, the more his gut tells him something isn't right. So he makes the call to stay on high alert. As the hours tick by, he starts picking up unexplained sounds from outside. There's a faint rustling, something moving around the car, yet every time he checks, there's nothing visible. Then his car gives a slight, sudden shake, as though something or someone is right there beside it. By this point, Jack's nerves are completely shot. He goes back and forth on whether to stay put or get out of there. With no phone signal and no way to reach anyone for help, all he can do is hunker down inside and wait for whatever's lurking outside to eventually move on. Then he catches a flicker of movement just beyond his window. The darkness swallows up any real detail, but it's more than enough to confirm he's not out there alone. That glimpse is the final straw.
If you can see me right now, There's guys playing music to my left. There's actually 2 cars. Another one pulled up as well, and I did not feel good about this at all. So I am getting the hell out of here. I don't know where I'm going to go yet, but it's so dangerous because I can't see nothing. I mean, this is where I am right now for context. You can see like...
With no interest in sticking around to find out what comes next, he decides on the spot to pack up and go. As his engine turns over, he clocks that the other car is still sitting right there. He pulls away fast, eyes darting to the rearview mirror every few seconds to check whether anyone is following. Thankfully, nothing comes of it, but the whole ordeal leaves him thoroughly shaken. Come morning, he tries to piece it all together. Was the other car just a strange coincidence? He never lands on a definitive answer, but one thing is beyond doubt. This ranks among the most disturbing nights he has ever spent camping alone. As always, drop your thoughts on this one down in the comments below. Venturing far out into the wild, you're almost bound to come across something that catches you off guard. On October 6th, 2019, a video was uploaded to the YouTube channel Mir Bezgranets, showing a cameraman making his way through woodland near the edge of Perm, where he stumbles onto something deeply unsettling. As he moves between the trees, he spots a strange construction, plastic sheeting weighed down by wooden planks. He pulls back one of the coverings to reveal what looks like a crude underground bunker dug into the earth. Pushing further into the forest, he comes upon yet another structure. This one is also thrown together from plastic and tarpaulin, but rather than being buried, it's suspended above the ground between a pair of trees. A set of jeans dangles from one branch, a plastic bag from another, and rubbish is strewn all around the area. Peering inside, he can make out the shape of someone asleep within. The cameraman backs away without making a sound. Before he heads out though, he finds one more structure. Checking inside this one, it's obvious somebody calls this place home, though they happen to be away at the moment. One wall is concealed behind a layer of branches, and a washing line nearby holds clothing left out to dry. It seems a small cluster of people has carved out a hidden camp somewhere deep in these woods. There's really no telling how they'd respond to an outsider suddenly stumbling into their space. What adds another layer of unease is just how remote this place is. The camp sits deep in the forest, tens of miles from the closest town. Sometimes the wilderness conceals people just as effectively as it conceals wildlife, and discovering their hidden dwellings can be far more chilling than running into them face to face. A Russian urban explorer based in one of the country's major cities made the decision to travel deep into one of its most remote regions. As he pushed through a thick stretch of woodland, he stumbled upon something he never expected to find, an old derelict structure concealed within the trees. Drawn in by curiosity, he chose to go inside and take a look around. Armed with nothing but his phone for light and to capture footage, he cautiously made his way through the pitch-black corridors. Then, just a short while in,
Эти шахты. Так. Пошли. А вот здесь уже стрёмненько, ребята. Какие-то комнаты.
Everything changed. As he panned his camera around the interior of the building, the space around him looked completely deserted and eerily quiet, until an unsettling figure suddenly materialized somewhere inside. The reaction was instant. He didn't stop to think, he bolted straight out of that building in a full panic. Later, safely back at home, he went digging into the history of the location, and what he uncovered only made things worse. The stories surrounding that place are dark ones. Apparently, some kind of tragic event unfolded there in the past, something that may well explain why the building has sat completely untouched ever since. The explorer himself described it as the single most terrifying experience of his life, made all the more chilling by the fact that the site sits hundreds of miles from any sign of civilization. And that's what makes this so deeply unsettling. If that building is truly cut off from the rest of the world, deep in the middle of nowhere, then just what exactly was lurking inside? In August 2019, YouTuber Bachi and his crew pulled up to a 60-acre derelict psychiatric facility, just 15 minutes before the sun went down, and the atmosphere hit them the second they arrived. A dense wall of fog had swallowed the entire grounds, giving the whole place the feeling of something straight out of a horror game. The very first thing to greet them was the phrase "Hell's Spray" scrawled across a wall, and even before anyone set foot inside, every gut feeling they had was screaming at them to turn around. Scattered throughout the grounds were the kinds of things that make your skin crawl. A lone abandoned wheelchair sitting in the dark, security cameras still mounted to crumbling walls, and entire blocks of buildings that resembled a ghost town, their pitch-black windows gazing back like hollow eyes.
You scared?
terrifying.
It just looks eerily dark and quiet, man. It just looks like a ghost village.
Mate, I can't even get it. I feel horrible already. Coming up.
Aye.
Dan, look at the floor. Look up here. It's the creepiest thing you've ever seen. You have to look up here. Look at a wheelchair there. Isn't that so creepy? Oh, how creepy, man.
Unsettling sounds kicked in almost right away. Birds or possibly something else shifting through the trees. And the group openly admitted they were already rattled before they'd even cleared the first building.
Of all the places.
He's ripped the bush.
I hear some of this bush now.
Something in this tree, mate. I think it might just be a bird, but...
I'm looking at my pants, eh?
Did you feel
that?
that?
For a bit?
That was... Well, just feel not out with the camera. You can buy some H2O for a quid. You interested?
They learned that somewhere on the property there was a morgue, one that previous explorers had called genuinely disturbing, with a forgotten chapel of rest lurking somewhere out in the fog.
Did you hear that? No, I heard a shout. I don't know if it was maybe one of your echoes.
Fish. I hear a car.
Oh, mate, it is. Do we jump back to the motor?
Oh, wait. This is just my family.
Where's she going?
Oh, she lives in that caravan.
Bro.
Christ. Let's chill for a bit. Oh my god,
That's
that's
in there?
so creepy.
That's in there? Can you get that on camera? That's our objective, to try and find that. Is that a crypt? It's an abandoned chapel of rest.
That's mental.
Yeah, I can't man. A veteran urban explorer made it to the frankly terrifying base.
As the sun continued to sink, the fog thickened to the point where visibility dropped to what they compared to Minecraft with the render distance cranked all the way to 0. And that's when they started picking up the sound of footsteps coming from somewhere inside. One of the structures...
Look at that building. Oh, that's top shit. Oh, man. Oh, mate. Look at this, man. You can't see your feet in front of you. It's like you've turned your render distance down in Minecraft. Look at that field. We don't want to disturb any spirits. Just letting all spirits around know that. Look at that, man. Somebody's set about that. Did you hear the footsteps in that building? Yes, I did. We just heard footsteps coming through one of these windows. Because me and you looked right at the exact same time. We did, aye. It might have just been Dan though, I don't know. Mate, this place is massive. The fact it's so foggy means we can't do it justice to actually get any good shots at it, but look at the size of this place. Bro, what went on here?
One member of the group then began hearing what he could only describe as a woman weeping somewhere in the distance. And shortly after, they stumbled upon a flooded hallway that appeared to lead straight to the morgue. Chains across the doors, coffins visible inside.
Mate, I just heard somebody
It sounded like a woman over there.
like crying.
Look at the bat. Scared the shit. Mate, that's a bat. It's flying in my head.
Please tell me you heard that.
It's a woman over there.
Why, just get out, walk round, maybe. This guy's too hardcore for me, man. As soon as it falls dark, I'll ask you, man. Got an entrance? Oh. You shit yourself. Go. You just fart, that's disgusting.
I feel better, man. Let's go, go. I don't even want to go first, so you go first.
Can you get in there?
You can get in there. You can get in there.
Huh?
You can get in there. There's a door. Try the handle. Oh, you're right.
Oh my god, no, I'm not going in there, Dan. No. I can't get in there. Looked in there.
Oh, bro. Oh, no. Oh.
Is that flooded, by the way? I think that's flooded. Aye, that's flooded, bro.
Where is that?
That was the morgue.
Is that the morgue?
That's with the eyes.
There's chains on it.
Oh, fuck. It's like a big coffin, it looks like a coffin.
Then some kind of rhythmic sound, drumming or music drifted through the air. Possibly a passing car, but it felt deeply out of place, and the dread had taken such a hold on the group that one of them said his body simply refused to go any further.
Like, instantly after I heard that.
What was it?
It's like drums. It could have been a car passing with music.
Because went away now.
I think we should go up there and check that out. And I back out. I'm too close, and it's getting dark and it's freaking out.
I'll just look for the exterior.
Yeah, I can't even do this, man.
Stay here then.
Stay here, it's even worse.
There's a bang there. There's a bang in there. There's a bang in there.
We should try and get in that corridor.
We'll go and look and then we'll come back.
I can't again. I just can't even. I feel horrible.
You down to go in?
Fuck that.
Really?
Are you?
Okay.
I'll stick with badges.
They made the call to get out, but as they navigated their way back through the fog, a figure came around a corner, locked eyes with them, and without uttering a single word, launched into a full sprint directly toward them.
Roll down. I'm like that on that.
It's time to bail, man. It's starting to get really dark and we can't get out.
How's that? Can we go up to the motor, have we? Yeah. Nah, bro. We need to go that way. It's getting too dark. Where? It's scary. It's getting too dark. I don't know what I need to do. I need to do it.
Make sure you light that. Can you see it?
Oh, damn. It's a hospital. There's people! I'm not even good! Go, go, go. I'm not good. Go, 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 go. That's scary. It was in this open lobby area where the building went around it. There was somebody just walks around the corner, looked right at us and started rambling and started like, shut up, Dan. Look there, look there. What? Oh my god.
They ran for their lives, adrenaline completely taking over, and when they finally collapsed back at their car, they spotted another vehicle parked nearby, one that had absolutely not been there when they first arrived.
Go. What's going on here? Dean, hurry up, there's a car, mate. Huh? Your footsteps. Oh my god. Give me a minute. Mate. Shut up! Oh my god, please.
So who exactly was that figure that came charging at them without any warning or explanation? If they were security, why didn't they say so? And what was the source of those sobbing sounds echoing through the building before anyone had even ventured that deep inside? Spending a night alone inside an abandoned building is unsettling enough, but doing it in a frozen, long-dormant psychiatric facility pushes that feeling into an entirely different territory. The person at the center of this story runs the Uncharted Travel Channel, a solo explorer known for venturing into forgotten and frequently dangerous locations. His catalog includes everything from crumbling industrial complexes to derelict homes, and for this particular trip he turned his attention to a deserted sanatorium buried deep in rural Canada. The facility was originally constructed in 1896 as a tuberculosis treatment center before eventually being converted into a psychiatric institution. It sits in an isolated stretch of Ontario, reachable only by a road buried under snow. He arrived in the late afternoon with maybe 2 hours of usable daylight left, and he'd already made arrangements for shelter, fully intending to stay the night. Temperatures were forecast to plunge to around -20 degrees Celsius, and as he approached the entrance gates, he noticed the internal roads had been recently cleared of snow, a strong indication that somebody might still be looking after the property. That observation put him on high alert from the start. He eventually located a narrow window and squeezed himself inside. What greeted him was a vast, deteriorating interior. Sections of ceiling had given way, thick ice coated the floors, and every footstep demanded concentration. The building carried a suffocating atmosphere, worn down by decades of suffering and seclusion. Moving through the old patient wards, the weight of what had happened there was impossible to shake. The further he ventured, the heavier the quiet became. Every noise, the crunch beneath his boots, the wind pressing against the walls outside, seemed to echo louder than it should have.
This would have been like the buffet area where patients would grab their food.
At a certain point, he picked up a sharp, rhythmic tapping coming from just beyond one of the windows. He killed his flashlight and stared out into the dark, but nothing was visible. He tried to chalk it up to shifting ice or the structure settling, yet the sound had been far too deliberate for that explanation to feel convincing. He pushed forward regardless.
From this direction, but like at the base of the building. I doubt they'd come in here, but just trying to be safe.
After combing through the upper floors, he managed to locate a small utility room on the roof to use as his camp for the night. It had 3 walls but no door, which made it a brutal option in sub-zero conditions. Even so, he stuck to a tradition he'd established on his channel, a nighttime walk through the building's most disturbing section, one he hadn't managed to reach during daylight, the cafeteria. Getting there meant descending into the basement and working his way through a network of tunnels. His flashlight was already fading, but he headed down anyway.
I swear I did not plan this. My flashlight is legitimately dead.
As he moved through the dim, partially waterlogged corridors, a creeping dread began to take hold. Then something stopped him cold.
Here? Time to head back the way we came. Hello? I swear to God, I just heard someone. Oh my God. I swear I just heard someone over here.
A distinct noise carried through the darkness ahead. Not the wind, not dripping water, something that didn't belong. It could have been another person, possibly an animal. He called out into the black and received nothing back. At that precise moment, his flashlight gave out completely, swallowing him in total darkness. With only the dim feed from his head-mounted camera to guide him, he reversed course and carefully picked his way back through the frozen tunnels. By the time morning came, he had survived the night, but whatever made that sound in the basement never revealed itself. Was it a fellow explorer, a security guard making rounds, or something that defied any easy explanation? The next hair-raising clip comes from a YouTube channel called Team Motion, a crew well known for putting out bold, unscripted content that keeps viewers on the edge of their seats. The date is November 23rd, 2024, and in this particular video, a small band of young urban explorers makes their way into a rundown, seemingly vacant building somewhere in the city. Right from the start, they throw out the theory that the place might be a known hangout for criminal activity, moving through it with equal parts fascination and wariness. Once inside, they take stock of what surrounds them. Shattered windows, piles of garbage, discarded needles, and every indication that the structure has been left to decay for a long time, all while keeping an eye out for booby traps, asbestos, and whatever else might be lurking.
What the fuck is oh, this nigga got a laser pointer. What the f? Yep. Take that. This John dripping. That's what I'm saying. Put your hood on. Basketball? It's a fresh basketball. That's a fresh wall. Y'all going there? It's a basketball right there. I can't even see that bitch. This John dripping like a motherfucker. It better not be no nigga in here. It stink. It's hella basketballs. I know it's hella in there. Hell Oh, it stink. It stink. Yeah, right there. Yeah, we filming my IG real quick.
Put the camera right there. Put the camera right there.
Nah, let's watch this. Shit full. Watch out. It's hella shit full. Oh, yeah. Basketball. Shit on the floor. He turned around instant. What fuck that basketball? We gone. This shit stinking, bro. Oh God, this stinks. Shit. Let's leave this shit alone.
We could eat in here.
Alright, come on. Push up. I ain't gonna lie, I'm not sitting down. I'm just gonna eat walking. What a hooping part does of the gym? This not no gym. Oh, this a kid gym.
Pushing further in, they're greeted by dripping ceilings, the stench of decay, and a bathroom so foul it's obvious no one has used it for its intended purpose in ages. Despite all of that, they stumble upon an old gym space and, in a surprisingly casual move, decide to stop and eat.
What? I don't know what it is. What is this? What's in the top left? Say Mrs. Best Friend, we put his ass all out. I thought that was shit. Whoever wrote this is a B word. I know it's lame females that be in here. What is this? I just say asbestos, boy. You better watch out. Open that junk. Someone said disease in there. That junk locked for sure. Yeah.
Have a supplies in there.
Look, that say caution. You crazy. Open that junk. That junk was they got bleach right there? Damn, this long ass shit.
Once they've wrapped up their snack, a strange sound begins echoing from somewhere down the hallway. They gather their nerve and move toward it to see what's going on, but find no one there. Continuing their exploration, they come across a stretch of wall absolutely covered in graffiti, a clear sign that this place has had recent visitors.
Trying to do some parkour for the video? Let's go. Someone, that's that still water, boy. Would y'all hop in there for $10,000? 10,000, would you hop in there? Jump down there, nigga. Someone, let's go to the pool room. Who's stopping? You don't know how to carry yourself? You dumb, nigga. Alright, we gotta be careful. Oh, ain't nobody in here. Shut your bitch ass. Oh, there's water right here. It's water? Hop in there then. I'll slap the shit out of you. Say I won't slap you though. We can run at 30 right now. We can run at 30 right now. Look, you running though. I said we can run at 30.
Good content.
I'm saying, what's the word? Telling you to push somebody in the water. Why are you out here?
Man, y'all got stairs on both sides, folks. 3, 2. Oh yeah, put your hood up.
Damn. The dust in his little goofy ass. Dust in his little goofy ass.
Bro, I had to hop over shit.
What's next, chat? What's next? What's next? What's next?
While they're messing around near a filthy old pool, racing one another and cracking up, the mood shifts in an instant. They pick up on some kind of commotion behind them, and then 2 gunshots cut through the air. They don't stick around to figure out who pulled the trigger or what for. They bolt. Thankfully, it appears everyone got out in one piece, but it drives home a serious point. A building being empty on the surface doesn't mean there's nothing dangerous hiding inside. So what do you think was going on? Was somebody trying to chase them out, or was the situation far more sinister than that? Drop your take in the comments. There's something about venturing into the unknown that keeps pulling people back, and maybe it's exactly that uncertainty that makes it so impossible to resist. This chilling footage was recorded by Tobias, a creator you may already know from his YouTube channel, Unknown Worlds. At just 22 years old, Tobias is a seasoned urban explorer with more than 8 years of experience venturing into forgotten and abandoned spaces, documenting his finds for a dedicated following. He's built a reputation for fearlessness, frequently tackling these unsettling locations without a companion. But on this particular occasion, he wasn't going in alone. His close friend Alex was by his side, and together they set out on an overnight expedition that would become a nightmare neither of them could have ever prepared for. For this video, Tobias brings us to Germany, the country he grew up in, and the place where the majority of his explorations happen. It's February 3rd, 2017, a bitter winter night, though the harsh cold did nothing to stop the two from pushing forward into the unknown.
Neuen Lost Place, den wir zufällig über Google Maps gefunden haben. Deswegen gehen wir davon aus, dass er noch gut erhalten sein sollte, noch nicht so viele Leute da waren. Wir haben wenig bis keine Informationen über diesen Ort. Das heißt, wir wissen nicht, wie sieht es mit Security aus, wie sieht es mit Umzäunung aus, wie gefährlich ist dieser Lost Place, das muss natürlich auch immer ein Aspekt.
Tobias kicks things off with his usual energy, checking in with his viewers, and laying out the plan to investigate a long-abandoned structure. At that point, it all felt like business as usual, just another entry in a long series of adventures. But what seemed like a routine outing was about to take a terrifying and life-threatening turn. The moment Tobias and Alex stepped inside, an awful stench hit them immediately. Alex noted that it reeked of urine, suggesting someone might have been there not long before them. That thought alone was enough to raise the hairs on the back of your neck. The smell was fresh, pointing to recent presence. Even so, the two pushed deeper into the building, completely unaware of what they were walking into. Moving through the crumbling corridors, an oppressive tension began to build. Every footstep echoed through the dead silence, making the atmosphere feel increasingly suffocating. And then, without any warning, everything changed. What had seemed like a harmless adventure suddenly crossed into something straight out of a horror film. A homeless man brandishing a knife emerged from the darkness and launched himself at the pair. In the chaos that followed, the man seized Tobias and began pulling him away. Alex, paralyzed with shock for just a moment, turned and sprinted in the opposite direction. When he eventually looked back, the attacker was walking away, and there was blood on the floor. Understanding immediately how serious things were, Alex made it out of the building and dialed the police without hesitation.
Keine Ahnung, der ist hier noch drin. Ich weiß nicht, was mit dem los ist. Nee, ich bin nicht verletzt, ich bin gar nicht verletzt. Ich konnte direkt abhauen, aber wie gesagt, mein Kumpel ist da noch drin. Also wir müssen schnell Polizei und Krankenwagen. Ich weiß nicht, was da jetzt noch passiert ist. Keine Ahnung, ich war direkt draußen und ich war in der Baracke drin. Okay, ja, ich komme nach vorne.
After that call, the screen went black as Alex cut the recording in his state of panic. With no video of the actual attack captured, viewers were left to reconstruct the events through the traumatic accounts given by Tobias and Alex themselves. Several weeks on, once Tobias had healed from his wounds, the two uploaded a follow-up addressing the flood of questions pouring in from their audience.
Es sind natürlich viele Fragen aufgekommen. Ich werde mal versuchen, so die, an die ich mich noch erinnere, jetzt zu beantworten. Und zwar natürlich, ob die Polizei kam. Man sieht ja am Ende, wie Alex die Polizei gerufen hat. Die kam auch mit dem Krankenwagen. Wie die jetzt mit diesem Obdachlosen oder was es war, verfahren ist oder hat, wissen wir nicht. Der Krankenwagen hat mich logischerweise ins Krankenhaus gebracht. Ich hatte Verletzungen an der Hand und am Arm. Und ich wurde dann nur im Krankenhaus angerufen, ob ich Anzeige erstatten will. Da habe ich natürlich ja gesagt. Also was man ja nicht auf der Kamera sieht in der Aufnahme, was jetzt noch mit mir passiert ist. Also wir hatten auf jeden Fall extrem Glück, dass dieser Obdachlose alkoholisiert war, extrem stark. Was man auch sehr gerochen hat. Man hat ja auch bei seinem Bett gesehen, dass da wirklich Pullen lagen. Deswegen waren seine Angriffe jetzt nicht so krass koordiniert, sage ich mal. Also er ist auch direkt umgekippt danach. Man konnte ihn abwehren. Ich habe ihn weggetreten. Man denkt die ganze Zeit dabei, wenn man da sich getrennt hat, was auch so dumm war, dass man sich getrennt hat, denn einfach bei diesem Angriff, man denkt die ganze Zeit, ja fuck, ist er jetzt eigentlich noch drin? Ist er schon draußen? Man weiß überhaupt nicht, was abgeht. Soll man jetzt noch mal rein oder... Also das ist auch so dumm, wir haben Pfefferspray eigentlich, aber wir vergessen es jedes Mal im Auto, es bleibt jedes Mal im Auto liegen. Das hätte wahrscheinlich auch extrem einfach geholfen, dass man ihn sofort außer Gefecht hätte setzen können. Man sollte es wieder auf die harte Tour lernen, dass man jetzt immer Pfefferspray bei hat. Ist auf jeden Fall extrem krass gewesen. Hat einen auch sehr...
In that video, Tobias walked through the harrowing details of the attack. He noted how fortunate he was that the assailant had been heavily intoxicated, which likely diminished the force behind his actions. Because under different circumstances, the consequences could have been devastating. Tobias stressed the need for far greater caution when entering derelict buildings and admitted that their goal of lasting the full night had been a complete failure. Though no one lost their life that evening, the whole ordeal stands as a stark and sobering warning. The worst can find you exactly when you're least expecting it.